Okay, that was a great intro. What's up? This is Big D0228. As you can see now, you can see how it is spelled. So if you want to know where to find me, just type it like that. As you can probably see now, thanks to the latest update from Upload Studio, we can now expand our projects to more than 5 minutes with added effects and other little features. So I figured let's take advantage of that with something that I have definitely made a long clip of. As you can see from my intro, it's going to be a golf course that I developed in Minecraft. Now, I showed you a little bit of it during a previous clip, but now I've decided to expand on it, that it only took me a full-blown weekend to do, and made it a 9-hole golf course. And I gotta tell you, I have made it pretty difficult, even for someone who actually constructed it all by himself. So we're going to basically start using a little bit more of the features there, and we're going to be pretty much going through the entire golf club and all 9 holes in as best of a detail I can do. So let's go on that adventure, shall we? Okay, am I coming clear? Okay, yeah, I am definitely coming in clear. So as you can see, welcome to Mushroom Isle Golf Club, located on my one server that has all my projects. Here we got to the 360 panorama. For the record, except for the stuff that I've adjusted here, I didn't really touch much of the island. I didn't take out the mushrooms whatsoever, so I decided to build on that. So let's begin with the golf club itself. You come in from the tram from my lake house. First thing you come to is the Pro Lodge, which will include the Wall of Fame, which has course records by anybody that wants to participate, as well as some food and beds just in case night falls. Then from there, all you gotta do is descend down the stairs to the pro shop where you pick up your golf supplies and a little practice range so you can get yourself prepared if you need to. Alright, now from here we will go out onto the first tee, right out there. I figured what better way to use as a little tee box markers than the Tower Pimps. I mean, come on, why not? So, first hole. Decided to, you've probably seen it before, it was simple enough. It's just a straight one down there with a couple water hazards, a couple sand traps on the approach, and then a couple surrounding the green. And it actually is helpful because I use glowstone so that it makes it easier for us to play when the sun goes down if I have it set there. And the torches help too. And honestly, the rules are basically, if you can't find your arrow, then you have to take the penalty. So, we now come to hole 2, a par 3. And I pretty much go right off the bat of making it really hard. With a little drop area for anybody that ended up in the water. With a tiny green. Again, I've actually had a little bit of a hard time trying to make this green, and I gotta tell you, I don't know if anybody has a chance of making a hole-in-one on that one. But hey, that's what you gotta do. So now we come to hole 3. This is the first one that isn't going to be out on the lake. It pretty much actually integrates some of the woods around the area. I had to cut a couple trees down because it was getting in the way. But I did a pretty good job to make sure it's like the torches and the fairway here just helps you basically line up your shots to make sure that you're heading towards the green. As you can see, I've decided to put the green over the cliff. So it's basically you can't go too high, otherwise it's going to go flying off and you're not going to find it. And of course, on most of these, like I needed to make sure the transitions between holes were okay, so I decided to add in stairs for that one. Now we come to the second par 3 out of 3, I believe. Yep. And this one's pretty much simple. It's like you're shooting off the cliff, and it's pretty much simple. Just need to make sure you're keeping it straight, and you can head towards the green instantly. A lot more easier than the second one, for sure. As you can probably notice, all the flags that I have are floating, because, again, it's like the carpet makes it a little bit harder for that. But, again, it just helps people to know where the hole is. It's not supposed to be sticking in there, and it just makes it that hard. Anyway, we now come to hole 5, which is the first of the par 5s. And honestly, it's like, in terms of what I consider the par 3, 4, and 5, it's like the distances are pretty obvious, and it also is what exactly you're going to be shooting at. As you can see, you got a couple different landing zones depending on what kind of risk you want to take, but you're more likely going to lay it, because then your second shot is going to be a little bit more difficult because you still can't see the flag from the first landing zone. And there's plenty of hazards here that are going to be getting in your way. But if you shoot it right, then you're probably going to be under par. As you can probably see here, the transition between 5 and 6 had to be a bit of a winding staircase. Because hole 6 here, I decided to make it a little interesting. You start off on the side of the mountain, where your first shot you have to lay up because I made sure of it. These trees, I've actually added it in because it made it a little bit too easy, because after that, you're pretty much dropping down. And honestly, it's like you might want to lay up, because I've actually tried going over the hill and I've had a hard time trying to find it. It has nothing to do with the game itself. You can find the arrows. But I mean, it's like after you get down the hill, it's like it's pretty much easy the rest of the way. Now, hole 7, a par 4 with a difficulty of its own, i.e., I had to pretty much create a very, very, very narrow fairway. Again, I figured it's like, let's do something silly with one of the holes. It's make it tiny in terms of the fairway and not so much the green. Although looking at it again, it looks like the green actually is a little bit smaller than what I thought. Anyway, we go off to now hole number 8. It's a par 3, but it's a little bit longer than the others, especially with the fact of it slightly veers left every few blocks. And where I place the pin, it makes it a little bit harder for someone to take the risk of going at the pin. But honestly, it's like you could see that I've did a lot of these out into the ocean just because I wanted to make sure it stayed in connection with the clubhouse. Again, you have to do that whenever you're building a golf course. Because you have the 9th hole here, a par 5. That is a dogleg right with a couple lakes on various shots, and an uphill climb up to the green with a mushroom that's also going to be that has been integrated in. I figured that is a good fitting end to a front 9. Very exciting. But I gotta say, I am very proud of the work that I've done with this. It's like, the fact that it only took me a weekend to do says a lot. And again, these are the ideas that just pop into my head sometimes. I don't usually look up videos and see what other people are doing. It's like I figured, let's give it a try and see what happens. But again, I think the 9 hole is pretty much enough to satisfy a couple rounds of. And I'm pretty much coming up here for what I was attempting at a huge panoramic or top down, I mean. But if I find a way to move it around a little bit, I think I can be able to pull out an 18 hole. Maybe not here, but somewhere else. Maybe. Maybe.